Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your requests and dive into a whole bunch of information to bring back some interesting stuff.
I like it, diving deep.
And you, our amazing listeners, you've sent us on a really interesting quest this time.
This is a big one.
We're diving into the whole phenomenon that is Titanic.
Of course, everyone loves Titanic.
Not just the ship, right, but the 1997 film that, captured everybody.
Oh yeah, the film and the soundtrack. Don't forget about that.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So many tears, so many Celine Dion songs. But seriously, it's incredible how this film, even after all these years, still has this hold on us.
It really does. It's like a cultural touchstone.
Totally. So we're going to explore all that, how Titanic became more than just a love story.
Because it really is more than that, so much more.
It really is. It's a time capsule of the 90s. It sparked so many conversations that we're still having today even.
Definitely.
So think back to 1997 for a second. What was everyone listening to?
Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys, all that good stuff.
Exactly. It was the era of dial-up internet. Remember that awful sound?
Oh, don't remind me.
And smack dab in the middle of it all, Titanic premieres. About perfect timing,
Oh,
right?
yeah, the stars aligned for that one.
They really did. The late 90s were such a unique time for film.
For sure, CGI was really starting to take off.
Right. Directors could finally bring these big, epic visions to life, stuff that just wasn't possible before.
And audiences are ready for it. They wanted those big stories.
And Titanic, it had all, the epic storytelling, the romance, this longing for a bygone era. It was both nostalgic and cutting edge.
Exactly, the best of both worlds.
And you know, it's so interesting. While Titanic was captivating everybody with his grand love story, it also really had this impact on how we see the actual tragedy.
It definitely brought it back to life for a lot of people.
Totally, because before the film, the Titanic disaster, it was this tragic thing, of course, but it felt kind of distant. Like something you read in a history book.
Yeah, it was like a story from a long time ago, a different time almost.
Exactly. But Cameron's film, it made it real again, like you were there or something.
And it really got people talking about it again.
Right. It was like this global Titanic obsession all over again.
And not just the love story. People wanted to know about everything, the ship, the people, everything.
Oh, totally. People were reading books, watching documentaries, all this new research started happening.
It was this huge cultural moment. Everyone was talking about Titanic.
Okay, remember that scene with the lifeboats, though?
Oh, yeah, with the mom putting her kids to bed.
Yeah, and there aren't enough for everyone.
Heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking, so intense. But it also started this whole other conversation about, safety rules on ships.
Yeah, how could something like that happen? How could they not have enough lifeboats?
Exactly. And it turned out that back then, those rules were, so outdated, they weren't ready for something like Titanic.
And it took a movie to really show people that.
It did.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, the film's popularity, it actually put pressure on the people in charge of all those rules. And it worked.
Yeah.
They made stricter guidelines, put way more emphasis on safety, all because of a movie.
Wow, that's wild.
Right. It's pretty amazing how a fictional story could have such a big real-world impact. But the Titanic legacy goes even beyond safety, though. It even had an impact on underwater exploration.
Really? How so?
Well, remember how Cameron didn't just, recreate the Titanic on a set?
Yeah, he went down to the wreck himself.
Did. It wasn't just for show. He really wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
And that had this ripple effect on how people explored the deep sea after that.
Huh, I never thought about it like that.
The technology they used to film the wreck, the cameras, the lights, everything, it pushed things forward.
So Titanic helped us see the deep sea better.
In a way, yeah. Those advancements, they helped us understand the deep sea and shipwrecks so much more.
That's actually pretty cool.
So Titanic opened up this whole new world, literally. It's pretty wild to think about a Hollywood movie sparking a passion for history, science, and exploration. But I think at its heart, Titanic reminds us that history is about people. It's so easy to get, caught up in the big picture, the ship, the disaster, all of that. But Titanic really gets us because it's those individual stories, those hopes and dreams, the love, the loss.
It makes you think about what those people went through.
Exactly. And those human stories, they always seem to spark debate, especially when you're talking about a Hollywood version of a real tragedy.
Because it's never going to be 100% accurate.
Right. So how much is too much? How much creative license is okay when you're dealing with something like this?
It's a tough one.
It really is. Some people say that when you fictionalize parts of a true story, especially when it involves real people, it's like you're messing with history.
Like you're cheapening it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that line between entertainment and actually changing history. It gets really blurry,
And with Titanic, there were definitely some people who felt it crossed that line.
for sure. And it makes sense, you know? Like, on the one hand, it's Hollywood. We're supposed to be entertained, right? But with something as big and tragic as Titanic, you have to be careful, you know? Respect the story, the people who were lost.
So where do you draw that line?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I mean, some historians and even, like, descendants of survivors, they've pointed out things in the film that aren't quite right.
Oh, like what?
Like how certain characters were portrayed or, little details about what happened. And it reminds us that even with something like Titanic, where we feel like we know so much, there's always more to the story. Different perspectives, different interpretations.
It makes you think twice about taking everything you see on screen as fact, huh?
Totally. And that's what I love about these deep dives. We're not just like sitting here taking it all in. We're really digging in, looking at things from different angles, and then we get to form our own opinions.
It's like a mental workout.
Exactly. And Titanic, it's more than just a movie now. It's like this lens that we can look at history through. Think about the impact it had on us and even how we tell stories.
That's deep, man.
Right. So next time you hear about Titanic, remember, it's more than just a sinking ship or a love story. And that's it for today's deep dive.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, everyone.